Hello and warm welcome the audience to New Generation Women, and I'm Jeanine. Today I start a new episode. The global online female story movement presents women who are sharing their stories from England, from Mexico, from Australia, from Japan, from the Netherlands, from Belgium, from Italy, from France, from Morocco, and. Amazing women who share their experience in their country, at work, in their families, and what is going on in them personally. We kick this off with Germany and Michaela Clint, who has inspired me to set this up while I was listening to her WhatsApp messages. Michaela has been working in the healthcare system as a healthcare professional since over 30 years. Michaela, what is exactly your responsibility?
First of all, I'm responsible for getting all the medical supplies out for all hospitals in Bavaria, especially in Munich, and all the large hospitals. So, so the orders after this coronavirus is going on and the numbers keep going up and up. Of course, our orders keep going up and up, and the medical supplies, the requirements for the hospitals, the hygienical standards, everything is going up. And then pretty soon, there was, after, I don't know how many weeks, maybe a month or so, something like this, there's no more medical supplies, much needed medical supplies. And I mean like examination gloves, the face masks, all these important things that you need to have a ongoing hospital operation. So in this case, this is just unbelievable. There were masks that were stolen from hospitals. So this one particular hospital, a customer of mine, called me and said, "Oh, we need face masks immediately. Can you deliver like tomorrow? We have no more." I was like, "Well, why you have no more? We just delivered, last week." Though somebody actually stole, I think it was about 2,200 masks out of this hospital.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
Wow, yes.
And the boxes, I mean, of course the masks are small, but the box to steal 2,200 masks, somebody had to have seen it, because the box is not small. So it's a big box. And for somebody just to walk out the hospital, this is just unbelievable. And Germany as a whole, if you compare it to other countries, the crime is not high. People just don't go out and steal things like that. And then to steal something out of a hospital, this is unbelievable. And so, of course, nobody knows who it was. Was it a staff person? Was it a visitor in the hospital? A patient? Maybe. We don't know. We will never find out. But this goes to show how crazy this situation is. And then for me not to able to, or for us as a company not to be able to deliver everything that is needed because the supplies is going out, that's very devastating. It's a devastating job right now. We're working day and night. We have all these orders. We're trying to deliver everything on time, and yet and still, it seems like we're not going forward, because the manufacturers are not delivering, and we can't deliver. And I'm a very responsible person in my job. I always have been. It doesn't matter what position I ever had. And it's just devastating, because you're giving your all. You have responsibility. I feel like I'm responsible. It goes as far as, if the health system like totally breaks down in Germany, I feel like I'm a part of fault, that it's my fault. Well, it's not my fault, but I feel like it would be part of my fault also. So it's terrible. It's a terrible situation. The other situation that we had, a hospital staff calls me and said they needed disinfection, the holders with locks. I've never had a order like this before. I don't even know if this even exists, such a product. I said, why do you need disinfection holders with locks? Well, the people, somebody stealing the disinfection bottles out of the mounts, out of the holders. Unbelievable. What kind, it's like, wow, why are people stealing things out the hospital that are so much needed and they're so much necessary for the everyday necessity of a hospital life? How can you do this, And
yeah, it was, you said this, and I found
yeah.
people seem to be so irrational. I mean, fear is anyway not logic.
Yes,
and
exactly.
People just and everybody says, look, this is togetherness, this is being you together and helping each other, supporting each other. And I also had experiences. My kickoff story was that people were so aggressive and extremely overreactive. And I saw myself catching myself, and I said, oh, wait a minute, Jeanine, you have to really behave and to really watch your tongue and you watch your tone, because you're way too irritated and tense right now.
Yes, everybody is.
But still, when you think that you steal something out of hospitals where people are really sick.
Yes.
So, and did this ever happen in hospitals before, like when tense times were? Did you do it for 30 years now?
No, ever, not ever in my life has things like this happened, ever. I have never experienced this type of thing. And also, of course, you have to understand, I talk to doctors every day, to the nurses every day, to the buyers and sellers of hospital supplies. And it's such a, as a whole, aggressiveness, energy and vibe. Normally you talk normal, but we have contracts right now of delivery that we cannot hold up. And so I remember talking to this hospital staff person on the phone, and I said, well, there are no more face masks. We cannot deliver. They're out. They're just practically not deliver. And I can't tell you when. Well, when is the next supply coming? When can you deliver? I can't even give them this information because I don't know. We don't know. This was his reply. I don't care if it's Corona or whatever it is. We have a contract that you have to fulfill. We need this mask, and really going on the telephone, screaming, yelling at the top of his lungs. And I'm thinking, oh my God, and so also this aggressiveness that is going on, it's actually because it's, yes, everybody, is just totally need help. And you can't, I can't supply anybody the information that they need. That's the next thing. And then they get so aggressive, and this is terrible. It's terrible because these are all people that I talk to, in December when we talked, it was normal. Now it's on a level, it's over the top, and I can't do anything. I want to help, but you're like, so I'm so startled. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And the same thing is, I know when I look into the future and you look at Italy, what is happening there, and you look at Germany, and then you look at China, and then you look at us, and I'm like, okay, why isn't something more being done? Because the last thing that we need is that the medical system breaks altogether like it has been in Italy. And if you look at all the numbers steadily going up and up and up, and it's already right now difficult to have a normal hospital situation. And it's like, more or less, doctors are deciding, are you going to live or are you going to die? Because we only have so much staff. We only have so much respiratory machines. And so the survival of the fittest, more or less, you know, and this is terrible. I get goosebumps when I just think about it, because this is so terrible. And other operations, needed operations, are being put on hold because there's no supplies. There's no beds. There's not enough staff. Now the staff is getting sick. So it's just it's a chain of events that are that's happening here. And it's very devastating. I have never been so like lost in my profession. Like, you know, what is there that I can do? I've never been in a situation like this. We all haven't, you know, in our lifetime, we have never had an epidemic going on like this. So it's new for all of us. But in my profession, just to be so helpless,
Yes.
You know, and not being able to help. You want to help, but you can't. You know, yes. This is a terrible thing. It's so terrible. And then you watch and then you see it getting worse and worse, more or less, because you have ignorant people that just do not abide by what the politicians tell you, what the professionals tell you, what it is to do. They're still outside like there is no virus.
Yes, that's something.
You know,
Sorry that I interrupted, because I witnessed this also in Hamburg, and I was like trying not to judge so much, just observe, don't jump in there. Level of aggression is anyway high. Don't go in your aggression, Jeanine. But I really had to, how can I say, I had to pull myself almost back, and my mother was the same.
Yes.
You see a group of young men, teenagers, young men, 21, 22, 23, coming together, hugging each other, having their mobiles in their mouth. Really, you see that they're absolutely not caring in the way of ignorance is bliss. And what touched me, and why this whole story movement happened, was because I know you're very funny and fun, and we dance together, and we never talk about so much serious stuff. We have talked, but not in that kind of dimension as it is now, and intensity. And what I got goosebumps from was your true commitment that you would do everything you can, that the medical system would not put it together in Germany, and that you could do in your position everything that they get, everything they need. And I felt you were very serious about that, and you would really almost give your left arm, and that touched me so much. And then at the same time, while people try to save literally the world, you see ignorant people, and you then talked about their coughing at elderly people. And you please tell me the story.
Well, you know, this is just also observing and watching. And you literally, you know, the teenagers, the young people, I don't know where they even come up with the idea of doing this, scaring old people out on the street, coughing deliberately, not on accident, deliberately, like this, in their face, coughing, and then yelling out, "Corona." Now, what? I mean, you know, this is just so, I don't understand it. I do not understand this kind of behavior. It is absolutely just horrifying. I don't understand how you can behave in such a way if you're a human being. I don't, you know, it doesn't even have so much to do with age. I don't care how old they are. It happened to be teenagers, but this is just not. It is totally unacceptable. It is so
acceptable, and it is, and that's what I saw too. The scene in Hamburg was the same when my mom and I were, you know, going to and try to get some groceries, and we could see that. So then I asked myself, of course, you have to ask a question about parenting. You have to ask the question, how much respect is there? How much respect did you give your children? And also, I had a young man coming across to me in the airport, and he was so rude and I was already vulnerable because so much happened there. So I didn't react quickly. But I thought later, I was getting so angry. Where were your manners? No manners, nothing. Just really rude. So I think there's a lot of stuff that's coming up that we are going to, after this crisis, hopefully will be complete in a way that we can continue our life and leave our homes. But there will be a lot of stuff that will need to change. And the way of parenting and getting young people again into values of integrity, respect, support, and service, and helping each other, that's very traditional and old-fashioned. But now exactly that's where it's missing.
Yes.
And they put the whole world into danger. And I can understand while you are working so much and give it your everything, that this must make you so angry. And then it's very, very hard to not judge. And sometimes we just had a chat, and then, other women in the chat box and in the chat group were as furious as you were.
Yeah.
And just in disbelief.
Yes.
And then one of the young girls, she would say, don't separate. And this is not about separation. This is about love. And this is a call for love. I said, well, love is not always pretty.
Yes.
Love has boundaries. Love
Yes,
is not squishy mushy.
Yes.
Love can set very strict boundaries.
Yes, exactly.
So in this whole, I'm in a bubble right now. I have the luxury of being in a bubble. I have the luxury of being on information detox for a few days. And I have the luxury to, even as a self-employed, I have lost a lot of work, but I still can create online work that is meaningful and beneficial in my own home.
Yes.
And I also knew there's a learning for me, and I take it as a time of growth, like almost my vision quest, to sit and to grow and to learn from it as much as I can. Is there anything that you, in this tense experience of having to work so much, and you guys have been sick, you're healthy, thank God again.
Yes.
What do you feel already is starting to grow in you, transform in you? What are you learning? Can you feel anything already now in the midst of it?
It's hard to say, but I actually realize now, I kind of had lost it along the way sometimes, why I even became a med tech, why I even chose this profession and chose the medical profession that I'm in, why I'm doing this. This whole thing reminds me of why I even 30 years ago went to school for this. And it's actually to help people and to help to sick people, to make sure that they're okay, or so to get their health back together. And even if it doesn't work, to be out there to help the needy and sick people. And this was lost along the way for quite some years, because I was tired of the job. When you sometimes just get tired of the job that you're doing and you think, maybe I need to be doing something else. There's much other jobs that are more profitable, where you get more money than what I'm making, and all these type of things. There's leaders, CEOs, everything else. But you know what? In the end, I know why I'm doing my job. I know what I'm doing it for, and it has a great big responsibility. And this just reminded me actually why I became what I became in my profession. And that was actually the origin why I became that. But like I said, along the way, sometimes I just got a little bit lost in it, because I was thinking it's not enough money and just tired of doing it and all this. And then you see other people prospering with other things and doing other jobs, and you're thinking, oh, I should be, doing maybe something else. But now I'm actually proud of myself, proud of what I am, proud of my job, proud of my company. I actually would never really ever would think I would say that, but I am.
Yeah, you said this actually, and that's so wonderful what you're saying. It's really touching, because we had the discussion about, wanting to change jobs and putting things back into relation and into purpose, and saying, why am I doing actually? What's my contribution? And that's all the questions that I think that will come up for many people. And it is said that some systems will collapse. And I really hope that some systems collapse so that those new kind of seeds can flourish and do have a chance to survive. But what I found so beautiful, because we do hear a lot about crisis of leadership or good leaders. There are not good leaders, not many good leaders out there. And then you said, I am so proud of the leadership of my company.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of how Bavaria is led also by our
Yes.
politicians.
Yes. Yes.
And I have to say that as a
Yes.
self-employed, I have never experienced this, that like in Germany, they are now starting to help all self-employed people. They are especially
Yes.
trying to help artists,
Yes.
performers.
Yes.
And normally you think you have to fill out huge long forms
Yes.
that will make, take a few
Yes.
weeks
Yeah,
until
exactly.
you have them completed.
Exactly.
And it's just one page.
Yes.
And they just put it up and said, this is the only
Yes.
page you have to fill out.
Yes.
And then you're getting quick help. And
Yes.
this, I have to say, for this blessed Germany for being so
Yes.
upfront and new
Yeah.
in the way how they were
Yes.
acting.
Yes.
You said something similar.
Yeah, exactly. Especially our health leader, Gesundheitsminister, our
Yes.
health leader.
Sure, I don't have the word
The
myself.
system is a little bit different in
Yes.
America, so I don't even know. I guess it's our
But they
health
don't even
leader that
have,
we
in
have.
America, they don't even have it. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
word that has to be
exactly,
revamped.
exactly.
So it's
So Herr Spahn, Mr. Spahn, he's
who's
doing.
responsible for the healthcare system.
Yes, for the healthcare system in Germany. He's doing an excellent job. I mean, a lot of people are still mad, and there's always going to be people saying negative things. That will always be, and but it's a learning process also for him, because he has also never been in such a crisis. None of us have, so but he's doing an excellent job. I don't even know he came up with all these thousands of masks. I don't know where he got them from. I don't even want to know what they cost, but he came up with masks that we as a company couldn't and didn't, and all other companies couldn't either, but I don't know where he got them from, like I said, but he has masks, and they're going to be, I don't know how they're going to be, who is going to get them and how many and whatever, but he definitely, that's a task in itself. I don't, that's like, wow, like magic. So I'm like, where did he get them from? Or my boss was like, okay, where did he get them from? We don't know, but excellent job. Then of course, like as you say, the entrepreneurs and people that are having a hard time, to help them without great big forms and all this kind of things. And then the new thing which is so great, that people cannot get evicted. So if you cannot pay your rent because of this crisis, they cannot throw you out your apartment. So you're not able to get evicted. Now, this is a big thing for Germany, because the rents are sky high, and it has never been said ever. I know this for a fact, that if you don't pay your rent, it was always like, okay, then you're going to end up, getting thrown out of your apartment eventually. But for this not to be possible right now at this, I find that so excellent, because you're going to have a whole bunch of people just out on the street, and then on the end, and then where are they going to go?
Yes.
So I found that excellent.
I have to say that while I'm listening to you, there is a smile of justice.
Yes.
There is this, because especially in Munich, followed by Hamburg, it has been so horrible. And I thought, why is not anything being done to bring this back into balance? Because many people are not earning all that money in order to pay the high, rent, and then groceries. Everything got so expensive. So now this, what I find amazing, suddenly things are possible now that absolutely have not been possible just even 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
And I spoke, because I had some difficulties with my who owns a house, and I spoke with a lawyer about that. And he said, there's absolutely no correction from the government side. We cannot do anything, and we are started ourselves. So I thought, whoa. And now 2 weeks later, that's kind of so I find this, I have a smile of justice, and I find this really I find this so important, and such a brave and also great sign that this whole thing is horrible at the moment, but I'm so convinced that something positive will come out of this in a whole different new way that would have never been able to come out of this if life would continue normal. And we all knew. I did a webinar with ambassadors global ambassadors, and my partner and I did it. It was a small webinar, and we were struck that everybody was very calm and said, we have been prepared for that. We knew something would come, and we all knew that. So I think the world was totally out of balance for a long time. Yeah. And somehow, and you are at the healthcare system, I mean, you really get the difficult and the most challenging part right now. But somehow we hope that this is completing as quick as possible, and as many people are safe as possible, and that the people who are the helpers and the heroes of this crisis, which makes me emotional because I so admire that, that they stay safe and healthy. So the audience, stay safe and healthy. More guests and more stories are going to follow. Please stay tuned. And if you want to leave a story also, or share a story, please leave it in the comment section below, and leave your email address that I can contact you. Definitely would love to air as many people and women globally who share their stories, so that we are connecting, that we are sharing, and that we are helping each other. Lots of support for you, Michaela. Keep in touch. And if you need any help, because I'm around the corner, you know, even with my WhatsApp, it's just one WhatsApp click away. We do it. You let me know.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you for doing the kickoff of this story movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.